Okay, now we need to talk about this area right here. And this area.
I'd like to make a comment, as I told you earlier, too, of us, I'll say it was a privilege to drive up there. We drove along about 2/3 of that top of that. It is spectacular to be up on the top of those mountains. At the same time, I don't want to see it developed in my lifetime, but I do see that in the future, 30, 40 years from now, there will be compatible development up there that we will approve. It's just not yet.
Clarify, where you drove, was it up that road that shows on
Basically,
just to there?
we drove all over those ridges up there.
Up here.
And there are flat areas up there that can be developed.
Not necessarily on the road.
And in the future, they can be developed satisfactorily to protect the view from the town and be an enhancement. But I would not vote for that for 20 years. It has to be in a 40-year plan. And it would have to be not just a red strip like that. It would have to show the exact developable land.
I had the privilege too of going up there on the weekend, off-roading, and it is beautiful up there. And I could totally see a restaurant, eating outdoors, looking over views, and I think that it could bring a new perspective and respect to all the nature that's out there. I could see vineyards up there. I mean, it's beautiful, and I think we should cherish it. Not all of it. I'm not saying all of it. Only the places where you can't make commercial everywhere, and I think I think it's gonna be impossible in some places. But there are places, so it's not gonna be all red. It's not gonna be all commercial. I don't think it'd be impossible. But I think there are some beautiful spots up there that would be great.
And it's above the fog line.
Any other comments?
I think that as you drive around different parts of California, that there are cities that are cut into the hills and different grades and steepness, and yeah, it's a great view from up there downward. But my biggest concern is the view from the downward upward. While there'll be a few hundred people residing up here, there'll be several thousand residing down here looking up that way. And I, in my perspective, and I don't know how you can do this, and I know, I've said this before, that, going along that front edge, if you look at the way towns cut into mountains, if they keep it single story, you'll never see it from over here. You can look that way and still see the mountains and still have your view shed, and maybe some access roads up top to where you can go up there and have a little picnic area and whatnot. But, if there's a way to take that inner circle and designate it green, i.e. the tops of the hills, it'd be nice to keep, in my opinion, I want to keep the view shed. I think the view shed's one of the important qualities that we have when we get to drive out of here every day. When you drive up to the canyon, you're driving up there, to look at the view shed. And, developing along the lower line, I could also see that as well. Maybe a few access roads and maybe a little park, picnic areas, whatnot up the top, so everybody can enjoy the view shed. I can understand that as well. I cannot understand in life for me why you want to develop the top of the hillside. Pick a town in California anywhere, and the ones that look nice are the ones that leave the tops of the hillsides alone. And they cut away into the bottom. I understand that, but cutting away the tops of the hills, I think it's just it's wrong. Because I don't care how much you rebuild it and how many trees you put up there and how nice you make it look, your native view shed's gone. So that's my thoughts. Pointer, yep, you bet.
Pointer.
You bet.
One more comment, John?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, this is all, it's easy to look down there. Okay, so my comments in this area, I think are going to really focus around the interchanges on each one. And I think there's easy ways, you know, if access to this, then, you know, some houses could be developed up there. But I like the idea of the commercial around the interchanges only, and then big open spaces in between.
May I add to that? If we do grow anything up there, put anything up there, any kind of development, we need to have strict guidelines. So it is beautiful. And there are great recreational opportunities there too that can coincide with whatever we decide, state or commercial or, you know, I mean, there's so much potential up there.
Good.
For whatever reason, I always live on the west end of the county. I grew up in Santa Clara County, and the hills bordering our west end there were the Los Gatos Saratoga foothills. And I think there is, you know, if you look to that, a lot of it is very natural. It's far more denser when it comes to the trees and you know, nature itself than what you see on the initial, on this side of the hills here. But I think there is a way to utilize space like that without destroying it. But again, this is a red swatch and a yellow swatch on a very flat map. And I agree with Colton that anything that would possibly go into such an area would have to be a very controlled type of development, because it's not just, you know, what's facing us out. It's you know, preserving probably one of the best things that we have in Patterson is that we can see the foothills. When you're in Modesto, you don't see it. You see a lot of dirty air. We see these beautiful foothills. So that's, you know, for me, I'm cautionary about that, but I do also know that things, you know, can, whether it be a home or something like that, or like you say, a restaurant on top of a hill. I mean, if you look to those areas, there's a lot of that in those areas that are enhanced by the nature that is around it, and it has not destroyed the area. It's beautiful. You'll see a lot of that terracing and things like that up a hillside when you go towards Sacramento, you know, outside Sacramento, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, all that area there. They're going right up the hillsides with very large homes, shopping centers, you name it. And but they're taking out their forestry, and they're taking out some of their natural beauty to do it. And that's the type of development that bothers me. So I agree with Colton that it would have to be extremely controlled, planned type of development.
We'll bring you back I mean, it won't be detailed, but we'll bring you back a designation that may work for that. I cannot emphasize enough my recommendation to not develop on the west side. And the reasons being, there's special species there, natural hillside, it's going to change the look of your community. Infrastructure alone, getting across over there is going to be gigantic undertaking. And so I just want to make that very clear that I would never recommend that on that side. But we will bring you some specific design criteria, and you can tell us